Sean Diddy Combs is more than just a rapper and music mogul. He's a cultural icon, but his career has been punctuated by scandal, with a string of controversies that have threatened to overshadow his immense success. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the most shocking scandals surrounding Diddy, featuring never-before-heard stories, exclusive statements, and how these moments shaped the man behind the fame. In December 1999, Club New York in Manhattan became the epicenter of a chaotic night that would forever change the course of Sean Diddy Combs' life. What started as a celebratory evening with his then-girlfriend, Jennifer Lopez, spiraled into a nightmare when gunfire erupted inside the club. 3 people were injured in the crossfire, and the night that was supposed to be about glitz and glamour transformed into one of the most notorious events in Diddy's career. At the time, Diddy was one of the biggest names in music. He was the driving force behind Bad Boy Records, responsible for the careers of major artists like the Notorious B.I.G. and Maze, and his own musical career was thriving. However, this scandal, on top of an already high-pressure lifestyle, threatened to bring his empire crashing down. Review from a music journalist. This was a huge turning point for Diddy. He was already a megastar, navigating the pressures of superstardom, but this incident catapulted him into a different realm, one of high-stakes legal drama and public scrutiny. People were questioning whether he would be able to bounce back from such a scandal or if this would be the end of his empire. Diddy, along with rapper Shine, who was part of his entourage that night, faced charges of weapons violations. Both men were arrested, and the media was quick to sensationalize the case. Shine, a rising artist under Diddy's label, was later convicted of attempted murder and sentenced to 10 years in prison. Diddy, however, maintained his innocence, and after a lengthy and highly publicized trial in 2001, he was acquitted of all charges, former patron recounts. Diddy's acquittal marked the end of his legal battle, but the incident left an indelible mark on his public image. Critics were quick to claim that Diddy used his wealth and influence to avoid jail time, sparking a debate about the privileges of the rich and famous. Many felt that the legal system had favored him, while others argued that he was simply an innocent man caught in a bad situation. I was just so scared. I've never experienced anything like that in my life. That night changed so much for both of us. It was a very intense time. I was grateful we were okay, but it was a situation I wish we'd never been in, Jennifer Lopez said. For Shine, the consequences were severe. His conviction and decade-long prison sentence derailed what many believed could have been a promising career. While Diddy was able to walk away, his protege wasn't so fortunate. The scandal not only affected Diddy's reputation, but also fractured his relationship with Shine, who felt betrayed by his mentor after the trial. I've always maintained my innocence, and today the truth came out. I'm just thankful to God, my family, and my legal team for standing by me. It's been a difficult time, but I'm ready to move on and focus on my life and my career, Diddy speaks. Though Diddy was able to move forward, the Club New York shooting was a turning point in his career. For many fans, it tested their loyalty. Was Diddy a victim of circumstance, or had his wealth and influence shielded him from justice? The event blurred the lines between his public persona as a businessman and his connection to the controversial, often dangerous world of hip-hop in the late 1990s. Despite the scandal, Diddy's career continued to thrive, but the incident at Club New York would follow him for years. It became a symbol of the duality of his life, celebrity and controversy, success and scandal, and left an undeniable mark on his legacy. The 1990s saw a seismic shift in the hip-hop industry, where the East Coast and West Coast emerged as the dominant forces. At the heart of this divide were 2 music moguls, Sean Diddy Combs, leading the charge for New York's Bad Boy Records, and Suge Knight, the controversial head of Death Row Records in Los Angeles. What began as a regional rivalry for hip-hop supremacy spiraled into one of the most infamous feuds in music history. Diddy's Bad Boy Records was home to one of the biggest stars of the time, the Notorious B.I.G., also known as Biggie Smalls. Meanwhile, Death Row Records boasted a roster that included West Coast heavyweight Tupac Shakur. As the feud intensified, it moved beyond mere music and into a world of personal insults, public confrontations, and ultimately violence. Suge Knight's remarks at the Source Awards were a public challenge, calling out Diddy by name, and it was the moment when this feud was no longer just about music. It became personal, and from there, tensions escalated rapidly. Music historian remarked, "The rivalry wasn't limited to music. It spilled into the streets where confrontations, threats, and rumors fueled the fire." Many believe that the increasingly hostile exchanges between artists and their labels contributed to the deaths of both Tupac Shakur in 1996 and the Notorious B.I.G. in 1997. Though Diddy was never directly implicated, conspiracy theories and accusations swirled, with some even suggesting that he knew more about the murders than he let on. The tension was real. It was like, you could feel something bad was going to happen. Everybody was on edge. People weren't just rapping about it anymore. They were living it. It was dangerous. Tupac associate said, "Both Tupac and Biggie were taken too soon, and their deaths left an indelible mark on hip-hop." Diddy has spoken often about his heartbreak over the loss of Biggie, his close friend and greatest artist. In interviews years later, he reflected on how the feud spiraled out of control. "Looking back, I wish things could have been different. We lost two legends, two brothers, and a lot of it came down to misunderstandings, egos, and people who wanted to see us go to war." Diddy said, "While the East Coast-West Coast feud may have made headlines and sold records, it also brought devastating consequences. The deaths of Tupac and Biggie are reminders of how real and dangerous the rivalry became, and Diddy's role in the conflict remains a pivotal chapter in the history of hip-hop. For some, the feud symbolized the dangers of unchecked pride and competition. For others, it was simply a tragic result of circumstances beyond anyone's control." On March 9, 1997, the music world was shaken when Christopher Wallace, better known as the Notorious B.I.G., was gunned down in a drive-by shooting in Los Angeles. The murder, which remains unsolved to this day, marked the tragic end of the life of one of hip-hop's most iconic figures. Biggie's death left his fans, friends, and the entire music community in mourning, but it also gave rise to numerous conspiracy theories, many of which pointed fingers at his close friend and mentor, Sean Diddy Combs. In the immediate aftermath of Biggie's death, suspicions and accusations ran rampant. Many fans believed that Biggie's murder was connected to the infamous East Coast versus West Coast feud that had claimed the life of Tupac Shakur just 6 months earlier. But as theories developed, some began to suggest that there was more to the story, and that Diddy, the man who had helped launch Biggie's career, may have had knowledge of or even involvement in the murder. "I lost my best friend. This is the worst thing that's ever happened in my life. I can't believe that somebody would do this," Diddy said. Diddy has always maintained his innocence, vehemently denying any involvement in Biggie's murder. But over the years, various lawsuits, documentaries, and investigative reports have kept the rumors alive. In 2002, Voletta Wallace, Biggie's mother, filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Diddy, Bad Boy Records, and the Los Angeles Police Department, accusing them of negligence and failure to protect her son. "I just want the truth. My son didn't deserve to die like this, and someone out there knows what really happened," Voletta Wallace said. The lawsuit claimed that Diddy's security team failed to adequately protect Biggie on the night of his murder, leaving him vulnerable to an attack. While the case was eventually dismissed, the allegations reignited public interest in the mysteries surrounding Biggie's death, with many speculating about what Diddy really knew. There were always whispers in the industry that Diddy knew more about the events of that night than he let on. Whether that's true or just part of the conspiracy culture surrounding Biggie's death, we may never know, remarked the music journalist. In addition to the wrongful death lawsuit, several high-profile documentaries have examined the circumstances of Biggie's murder. These films explored everything from police corruption within the LAPD to the possibility that the shooting was a coordinated hit. While none of these investigations have provided definitive answers, they have continued to stoke the flames of suspicion surrounding Diddy's involvement, or lack thereof. There were a lot of unanswered questions about what happened that night, and plenty of people who didn't want those questions answered. "The truth may be more complicated than we think," said the former LAPD detective. Despite these theories, No solid evidence has ever linked Diddy directly to Biggie's murder. Yet, in the court of public opinion, the questions have never fully gone away. For Diddy, the loss of Biggie was not only a personal tragedy, but a professional one. He has often spoken about how deeply the death affected him and how he still carries the weight of that night. Biggie was my brother. Losing him was like losing a part of myself. People can say whatever they want, but I love that man and I would have done anything to keep him safe, Diddy said. While Diddy has continued to build a music empire in the years since Biggie's death, the shadow of that fateful night in 1997 still looms large over his legacy. For many, the unanswered questions surrounding Biggie's murder remain a key part of Diddy's controversial and often scrutinized career. Throughout his career, Sean Diddy Combs has been involved in multiple physical altercations, raising questions about whether these incidents reflect a pattern of violent behavior. From high-profile confrontations with music executives to dramatic clashes on a university campus, Diddy's temper has landed him in hot water time and time again. One of Diddy's earliest run-ins with the law occurred in 1999 when he assaulted record executive Steve Stout. The altercation stemmed from a disagreement over a Nas music video that featured Diddy in a crucifixion scene. When Stout refused to remove the controversial imagery, Diddy reportedly flew into a rage, confronting him in his office. The altercation escalated quickly. Diddy allegedly struck Stout with a champagne bottle and even threw a chair at him. This incident shocked the music industry. Stout was a major player, and Diddy's violent reaction showed just how intense the pressure and emotions were at the time. This wasn't just a casual disagreement. It was a sign of how high the stakes were for Diddy as he navigated his growing empire, remarked the music journalist. While the incident was settled out of court, the violent nature of the attack brought negative attention to Diddy, adding to the growing list of scandals threatening his reputation. Some speculated that his growing power and success were feeding an unchecked ego and short temper. Fast forward to 2015, and Diddy found himself embroiled in another physical altercation, this time at UCLA, where his son, Justin Combs, was a football player. The incident unfolded when Diddy allegedly confronted Justin's strength and conditioning coach, Sal Alosai, over the way he was treating his son. Reports suggest that Diddy became so enraged that he picked up a kettlebell and swung it at the coach. It was crazy. 1 minute, everything seemed fine, and the next, Diddy was in the coach's face, and things got heated real fast. People were shocked when they heard he'd used a kettlebell. It wasn't something anyone expected from someone like Diddy, UCLA student witness said. Diddy was arrested on charges of assault with a deadly weapon, but the case was later dropped. Despite avoiding a conviction, the incident sparked a media frenzy, reigniting discussions about Diddy's temper and his tendency to resort to violence when provoked. While Diddy's charges were eventually dropped, it was a close call for him. Any conviction could have severely damaged his career and legal standing. The fact that he even found himself in such a situation shows that he has a history of letting his emotions take control in highly charged environments, said the legal expert. In the wake of these incidents, many began to question whether Diddy had a deeper issue with controlling his anger. Critics pointed out that these altercations were not isolated events, but part of a broader pattern of impulsive behavior. Fans, however, were divided. Some saw Diddy's actions as those of a fiercely protective father and passionate businessman, while others viewed them as dangerous signs of a man who frequently crossed the line. "I'm a father first, and I'll always stand up for my family. But there are a lot of things being said that just aren't true. I'm grateful that the charges have been dropped, and I'm moving forward with nothing but positivity," Diddy said. Though Diddy downplayed the severity of the altercation, the public perception was harder to shake. His involvement in yet another violent confrontation reinforced a narrative that had been building for years, one that painted Diddy as a volatile figure capable of lashing out when his pride, business, or family were on the line. Diddy has always been an intense figure. That drive is part of what made him so successful, but it can also be his downfall. When you're as powerful and influential as he is, it's easy to get caught up in the heat of the moment. The question is, how long can he keep walking away from these incidents unscathed? remarked a music industry insider. Whether the result of personal pride, business pressures, or family loyalty, Diddy's involvement in these physical altercations has left a significant mark on his public image. While he's managed to avoid long-term legal repercussions, the shadow of violence continues to follow him, casting doubt on whether his temper will lead to future scandals. Diddy's life has been a roller coaster of success and scandal, from surviving the deadly East Coast-West Coast rivalry to navigating lawsuits and violent altercations. He has always found a way to bounce back. But the question remains, how much longer can his legacy withstand the weight of these controversies? What do you think? Does Diddy's success overshadow his scandals? Or do these controversies paint a different picture of the man behind the fame? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more deep dives into the lives of music's biggest stars.